To give you an update from the California Highway Patrol. We've got Sergeant Tim Hinkson joining us, and he's joining us on the phone. Let's go ahead and speak to him real quick. Sergeant Hinkson, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. How are you doing today besides dealing with all this? You were telling me earlier you were tired. Is that still true?
Yes, definitely tired. I mean, I feel for all the first responders that are working around the clock. It's long hours, and it's after the long hours are over, it's okay, sleep quick, and then get back. And we want to serve. We want to try and do our best to help the community. So that's what's driving us. Of
course, and you guys are doing a fantastic job out there. We've said that multiple times. Everybody is really thinking about you guys out there. I want to ask, comparing. I talked with you last night when it was entering IGO, and we had evacuation orders coming in. I want to kind of compare real quick, if you could speak on this. Comparing last night's fire, the activity of it compared to tonight's, is it less? Is it as intense? What are you seeing?
So I went out to the west side of the fire today, which is out on Highway 299, and I would say the activity that I've seen as far as flames and whatnot seems to be a little bit less than last night, which is good. I mean, and also significantly less than 2 nights ago and 3 nights ago, where we had the fire just explode down into the northwest corner of Redding there.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that we can keep this weather kind of going and keep this fire activity down low, so that these fire crews can hopefully get the upper hand on this fire.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. You're saying it's a little bit lesser. That's right, because earlier this morning we received from CAL FIRE was 80,000, a little over 80,000. Now it's only, I say only, but it's 83,000, which is comparatively big difference between, going from 40,000 the other day to 80,000. So,
right.
Yeah, I could see that. So, what are some areas maybe that you've seen or heard from CAL FIRE, heard from people that seem to be the most active right now? What are some areas that people might be concerned with or should be thinking about that you've seen?
So I know one of the big updates that CAL FIRE pushed as far as a new evacuation was the town of Lewiston, which is in Trinity County. And it's kind of one of those little communities, much like French Gulch, a little mountain community up on the county line between Trinity County and Shasta County, but it's on the Trinity County side. I know that they issued an evacuation order yesterday evening. I think it was around 7-ish. So I know that was one of the big updates that came out. So with that, I went out to the west side of the fire, which is burning towards that Shasta-Trinity County line out on 299.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to go see what type of fire activity that looked like.
Okay, so you went on the west side. It's pushing. Is it pushing towards Lewiston? Were you by Lewiston?
No, I was still quite a ways from Lewiston.
Okay.
I know that they're with the way that this fire's behaved in the past, especially within the last 2 and 3 days ago. I think that they're taking extra precautions just to give the community of Lewiston as much time as possible to prepare and to get people out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Versus the rapid explosion of fire that we had, where we didn't have a whole lot of time with Old Shasta and Rock Creek and those types of communities, just because of the way that fire erupted. So I think they're trying to take a very cautious approach, which I think is a great idea.
Oh yeah. We had a lot of people on our Facebook asking about Lewiston. I know, and from what Rob Elvington, our meteorologist, he said it was pushing towards the line, towards the Trinity County line, and that's exactly what you just told us earlier, was that it's going out towards there. So, are we seeing it make a push south at all from what you've seen? I know that's a lot to ask of you, but is it making its push south at all?
I didn't go down to the south border of the fire.
Okay.
I was down there yesterday morning with a couple of other officers, and then of course Shasta County Sheriff and CAL FIRE were down there very, very heavy in those areas. And what I saw about 24 hours ago was just that fire, also very slow activity compared to what I'd seen previously, working its way kind of down through the canyons out there north of Placer over by like Clear Creek. So my understanding is that it hasn't gotten quite to IGO yet, but it's still kind of flirting with that area over there as far as its proximity to it. So, again, with these conditions, I think that it's great that we're having some support from our weather elements to allow the fire agencies to kind of set up and get a better position to prevent any type of further damage.
Yeah, that we're not having as much of dry conditions as we have been having to get this over with. Okay, so what do you see when you're out there this morning? I mean, it's 4:00 Sunday morning. Well, how many agencies are out there? Who's out there right now?
A lot. I mean, if what CHP's transitioned to is the last few nights we've worked on evacuations and really assisting Shasta County Sheriff's Office and CAL FIRE with trying to make sure that we can get those people to safety. But with the fire activity slowing, we've taken the CHP specifically. We've transitioned into a more proactive patrol type of situation today. So most of the CHP officers that we have here in the Redding area, which is upwards of 50 or so personnel, we still have a few people staffing road closures for the evacuated areas, but we have a lot of our staff that is out patrolling, looking for looters or any type of people that are kind of aimlessly wandering around the evacuated areas. We want to make sure that people that are in those evacuated areas aren't going to do any harm to the residences that have been evacuated. So as we've been out rolling around through those areas, we've seen Redding Police Department, we've seen Shasta County Sheriff's Office, and then of course all the utility companies. I didn't know we had so many different utilities as far as the different water agencies, PG&E, REU, the Davy trees. People trying to clear the low-hanging branches and the trees that seem to have kind of burned and they don't look very stable. So there's just so many government agencies out there trying to get these evacuated areas, one, to keep them safe from any further harm, and two, to try and remove all the hazards that are there after a fire goes through an area like that.
Okay. Just not only officers or firefighters, but you're saying PG&E and utilities are out there helping clear some stuff. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so you've said a lot. It's obviously bad news, but you've said some good news here about you're not seeing it as intense as the night that I think it was Friday night when it went into when it was approaching IGO.
Correct.
Yeah. How are you doing out there? How much sleep have you had so far in the past couple days?
I think I've probably had maybe anywhere from 8 to 10 hours in the last 3 days.
Sergeant Hinkson, you need you got to switch out with somebody. I know you're doing good out there, but we need you slept up.
Well, I like to think that I'm young, and I like I said, the real driving thing, and a lot of these officers are the same way. And I not just the law enforcement, but fire and the utilities folks, is I think that they have with a lot of the first responder things, you feel that duty, that calling to serve, and like I said, I feel almost useless if I'm just laying in bed. I'm like, you know what? I can be doing something. I can be doing some type of good or some type of service.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. All right. Well, Sergeant Tim Hinkson, let me ask you one final question. Just before I leave, you touched on it a bit. We received about 2:54 a.m. We received a press release from the Redding Police Department saying that they arrested a man for looting. How common is this? I don't like that people have to think, oh, my house might be on fire, but then there's someone possibly coming in and looting at the same time. Have you guys seen a lot of people in these evacuated places that look suspicious, or is that a common thing that's happening?
Oh, yeah. It's very common, to answer your first question, and it's unfortunate that it is. It like you said, these people that are in there that are preying on the people who've already had some type of devastation, and then just to kind of add to the emotional low of, okay, yeah, I had this little bit left, but now what I had inside my house is now gone or tore up. It's mind-boggling that people would think of these types of situations as, oh, hey, this is an opportunity for me to go in there and cause some more havoc. It blows my mind. Your other question, yeah, we see a lot of people going through the evacuated areas. I think that we get a good mix of, one, people that are wandering around the evacuated areas that chose not to evacuate. And with those people, we have to advise them that they can't be out walking around in the evacuated area. And they say, well, I chose not to evacuate. And we say, okay, well, you gotta stay in your house then. You can't be wandering around. Like I said, there's the big safety issues in these evacuated areas. But we've also stopped several people tonight that have either blown the road closures or have gotten around a road closure in some way, shape, or form, and are just kind of wandering around. So I know the Reading Police Department's been stopping people. The Sheriff's Office has. We have. Earlier this evening, we put a little Facebook post out, but we had a gentleman run a closure down near Highway 273 where he just blew past our officers and the National Guard personnel there. And we had one of our officers kind of chasing him through the community, and he pulled into this area. I think it was Rose Terrace, where our officers contacted him and tried to figure out what the issue was, if there was some type of emergency or whatnot. And he said he was just going to check on a family member's house, and felt that he didn't need to stop at the closure with the police car with red and blue lights. So when the officers were speaking with the individual, they found out that he was under the influence. So they did some field sobriety tests and determined he was not safe to operate a motor vehicle, and made an arrest for driving under the influence. So it's interesting that we find all sorts out in these evacuated areas, and you would think that it wouldn't be as bad or you wouldn't think that it'd be as common of a problem as it really is.
Yeah. Sergeant, Scott Wright's here, one of the news directors on call right now, working here, helping out. Quick question for you, and you know, I know you were out there along with all of our other first responders, putting your life on the line, trying to protect everyone, trying to alert people and get them out of harm's way. How do you go about keeping yourself safe so that you know you can return to your family at the end of the day when these fires are so bad as we're seeing right now?
I think that our biggest thing that keeps us safe is just hopefully common sense that we try to use when we're out and about. We do get close to these front lines, I guess, if you will, as far as trying to monitor the situation of the fire, or if we're performing evacuations in a location where the fire is right there upon us. Just a couple of days ago, we had several officers from the Highway Patrol that we just had several officers in the area doing a shift swap when the fire kicked up at that, I think it's Sun River Estates over by Buenaventura and 299. And so all of a sudden we had, 15 or 20 of our officers rush into this neighborhood and start helping evacuate people while Reading PD was in there as well, and the Sheriff's Office. So it's one of those things that we got to try and keep an eye over both shoulders and front and back, making sure that while we're doing the job we're doing is that we're keeping a safe distance from any type of harm or hazard.
Thank you, sir, for everything you're doing, and be safe out there. We all really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sergeant Tim Hinkson. Also, I'm going to add, get some sleep at some point because we know you guys. We know you guys have that urge, but yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate talking with you, Sergeant Tim Hinkson.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys later.
You have a good night. All right, that was Sergeant Tim Hinkson from California Highway Patrol.